Hey guys, so it's Saturday. I don't know if any of you saw my video from yesterday. I was saying that Saturdays, Saturdays used to be like, I partied and I drank on so many other days, but let me tell you, Saturdays especially, I look around because I don't want anyone here, but Saturdays especially was my day. And today's Saturday. So I've been noticing that I've been feeling a little bothered, a little irritated about things, but I'm thinking it's because of that. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking about it, and I think that that's natural. That's normal. I think to have that. You know what? Somebody once told me, Christina, we're going against what's in our nature, what's natural to us, the drinking. We're like fish swimming against the current. You know what I mean? And I remember those analogies. I think about those things because that's me craving it or wanting it or thinking about the good old days or whatever. And let me tell you, and it was the good old days because the last time that I could say that I was actually with people and like that it was the fun drinking, like I remember the shots in the bars and shit. That was like in 2010, 2011, when I left my hometown in 2013, um, to go to Florida. They had a goodbye party for me at one of my friends. So yeah, and we were partying it up on that night. But that was in 2013. And after that, all the drinking that's been going on, that went on after that, was usually done alone. Just like I said, my mother had died, so I was like so depressed. And I never forget a girl and I started laughing that was in the program over there, and she was young. She was only like 28, and she admitted, she said, I'm an alcoholic. But yeah, we were talking about that. Isn't it funny how we think about the good old days and like the fun that we were having when we were drinking like that and stuff? And then she goes, right? And then she goes, and Christina, let's be honest. In the end, we're in a bathrobe with a bottle. And you know what? And I started laughing because like, she's so right, man. Like, what am I missing? I'm missing something that happened like 15 years ago or whatever. Come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, be honest. I have to be honest with myself. It stopped being that fun kind of drinking and partying. Like, it stopped being like that a long time ago. But you know what? I was getting worked up right now talking with my sister because I was talking about the fibromyalgia. And I told her, I told you guys I'm reading that David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me. And you know what? They like to say today, they like to use that phrase, a deep dive. We're going to take a deep dive and, like into a certain subject or whatever. You know what? I'm taking a deep dive into that book tonight, whatever. But the reason being is because I already got to the end of the first chapter, and he's already having you do, he's calling it strategy number 1 in writing. And he wants to know, he wants us to write down, how do we feel that life has treated us unfairly? What has happened to us? You know what, guys? I talked about in another video that I've been very upset and I've been very hurt that I could never have children. Well, you know what? Living with fibromyalgia is another pain for me that I live with. Another thing that makes me feel that this is unfair. Like, why? Why do I have to live with chronic pain? Why do I have to wake up in the morning and brace myself and push myself? And, thanks to this knee where I had surgery, and I'm like a little, my ex used to make fun of that. He was like, oh my God. And I mean, we're talking like this was like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that he would tell me, why do you walk like a viejita when you get up? And I'm like, because I'm in pain, motherfucker. That's why I walk like that. And masking, I was talking about masking ADHD the other day. I masked that. You want to know how many jobs I had? How often that I masked that I was in pain? I always started my day off at work with an energy drink and ibuprofen, man. Because guess what? I couldn't let anybody know that I was in pain. Because you know what? All I could think about was people going, well, you know what? F you and your fibromyalgia. You're not carrying your share of the weight in our job. And you know what? And I was damned if I was ever going to let somebody say that about me. And there I was, man, there I was. And that is why I have the faith that I have in God. How could I live this life? How could I do the things that I was doing? I was heavy lifting. I was, you know what I mean? I'd go to the job I had in Florida before I left, in the inventory, carrying big boxes. And because everybody had to take their turn, right? You had to take your turn throwing the trash. You had to take your turn throwing biohazard, moving things around in the inventory. And I did all that, man, without you know what? I have fibromyalgia and I really can't do that. I had to work. I had to work. And I had to pull my full share. And I couldn't let anybody know the pain that I was in. And guess what? Because of that, I would go home and I would drink at the end of the day. Because you know what? I got through the day, man. I deserve to have some drinks. And guess what? Once that numbing sensation starts, and then, throw in a few pills there that I'd had, yep, that was my life, man. That was my life. That's the life that I was living before. And today, I'm trying to do what I can to get through that, to not have that. I no longer can numb myself. I no longer can use alcohol or use pain medication or, whatever it is that I can. I'm not, Tylenol, ibuprofen, of course. I mean, I only take those when it's like really, really bad that I can't take it, because you get used to pain. But you know what? I live with chronic pain. I live with chronic pain. And for anyone that's out there that you're doing something, you're trying to numb that pain that you have inside, because I have the pain in the inside too. It's not just pain outside. It's the mental anguish too that I go through. And I'm doing it. And I know now that is why I made this page, because I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through it. God is going to help me get through this. He's been helping me all this time. He's been helping me. Because how I've been able to do the things that I was doing, there's no way. It had to be him. It had to. And I told my sister that I think that this kind of stuff happens to us because he wants to be able to show his strength, not mine. He wants to show through me that it's possible. It's possible for us to be able to conquer, to do what we do, and able to get through it. And we can do it sober. And that is why I don't take nothing, like no gummies, those, whatever, THC gummies, like do you think there's not other things I can do? No. Because I'm going to do it sober, man. I'm going to do it completely sober. Caffeine is the only drug that I allow myself, because trust me, sometimes that can be a drug. But I'm already in 8 minutes. But I just wanted to tell you guys that you can get through it, man. You can do it. And you don't have to use. You don't. I'll talk to you later.